All right, guys, Francis versus Fury, right? The fight I don't want to see, I'm well aware is the fight that I can't quit talking about. Don't think you need to correct me of my own doublespeak, and don't think I'm not well aware of my own hypocrisy on this matter. It's interesting. The whole thing is interesting. The mere fact that Francis made a cameo a week ago, I do view that experience differently now. Seeing them in the ring together, what some people call a miss. What Sugar Sean O'Malley said they should have faked it, they should have offered us some level of entertainment. Seeing what I saw, it's different now, but also seeing and getting to understand what a star Tyson Fury is. Dylan White barely got over the rope. Dylan White says that he lost the fight because he was pushed. He might be right. He even says that that's illegal. He might be right. I'm not weighing in on that. The dude got pushed, according to himself. He got pushed and fell down. That's according to the dude. Dylan is saying he was pushed and fell down and bonked his head. I mean, for goodness sakes, right? Tyson Fury sold 93,000 tickets by himself. That is my final analysis. So it really doesn't matter if Tyson's driving the car, who the passenger is. Maybe. And this is a very interesting thing. Now, this is not going to happen. I'm not projecting something for you. I'm just offering a discussion. What if Dana White comes to the table and says, you know what? I got to give somebody to boxing. I got to give somebody to Fury. Fury, you've always been supportive of our sport, and I know you've even trained some MMA, and you always say nice things about us. I know this is what you want. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to give you somebody. I'm going to give you Jon Jones. Now that's going to come to you guys. That's going to instantly come to you guys to weigh in. Would you rather see Francis versus Fury? You guys have been very clear. You've been very clear to let me know I'm sitting by myself over here. I understand that. But you also haven't been presented with an option. And I'm hypothetically saying, if you had an option of would you like to see Jon Jones versus Fury, or would you like to see Francis versus Fury, and you only get one, and then you need to all shut up, that's the deal. Which one do you choose? I don't know what your answer would be. I hypothesize you would go with Jones. And I also speculate you go with Jones for one very clear reason. People don't watch Jon Jones, and this Jon Jones at heavyweight business is only working for one reason, because it seems like a mountain too tall to climb, and people are waiting to see him get beat. The number one thing people want to see, and they love the idea of Francis versus Jon, that Francis is going to knock this guy out. He's finally going to get beat. Something I've never seen before. I want to see that. Like there's a part of the fan that gets drawn to that in every sport. It's not negative against Jon. It's a reality when somebody is this good. You build somebody up, and the next thing you do as a fan is you try to tear him down. That's the sport. Then you go find the next guy, and you do the same thing. That's the sport. That's the psychology of a fan. It's very hard to imagine that anybody within the UFC, we got two guys that can deal with Jon. One is named Stipe, and as soon as that is done, we got Francis, or don't we? And we're right back at what do we do with Jon? It's one of those things. Let's just say that Dana's not in the spot. Let's say he was, for fun. Dana's in a spot where he's got to offer somebody up. So Dana's now going to have to make a business decision of who it's going to be. I think you have multiple fights for Francis. I do. I think Surreal Gone was competitive enough. I would put Surreal in there. Here, I'll give you guys an example. Let me give you a perfect example to illustrate my point. If Jon Jones was going to fight Tai Tuivasa today, Jon Jones would be a 6-1 favorite. He would be a 6-1 favorite, and he would back those odds up. He would win every single round. I'm not putting Tai down. Tai is a massive star. I'm only offering his name because you guys know who I'm talking about. I'm not putting him down. But skill-wise for where Jon's at, if he was to fight Tuivasa tonight, it's going to be 6-1. It could be 7. It's not going to be a sold-out arena. There's not going to be a ton of people wondering what's going to happen. Now, if I took Tai Tuivasa and I put him with Francis Ngannou tonight, you're looking at a 2-1 spread. It's going to favor Francis, and a lot of people are going to show up 100% sure that Tuivasa is going to knock him out. And you know what? I'm not sure they're not right. It's a style issue. It's the fact that Francis chooses to fight right here. It's the fact that Tai can fight right here. It's the fact that Francis has this incredible power in his hands. It's the fact that Tai Tuivasa has incredible granite in his chin. It's an interesting match. And I could play that game through the division. I just chose Tai randomly. I could play that 5 and 6 more times with Francis because of the style. I can't do that with Jon. With Jon, there is one shot to get him beat if that's the big goal. and that is Stipe. If Francis is still around, you now have two. But it starts to diminish if Jon goes through Stipe, even that goal starts to diminish, right? It's one of these things. So if Dana was presented with that, who he had to get up and he had to make a business decision, he's going to realize I can still sell out 5 or 6 arenas with Francis. Take Jon. And now it's going to be put to you guys. And I think overwhelmingly that evil side of the fan is going to come in, which is Tyson is going to kick somebody's ass. I'd rather see it be Jon, I think. And Tyson has never been presented with an option. So that might change things. This good buddy and this handshake and all this stuff we're betting on, it could change. I'm hypothesizing. Those guys could be thick as thieves. They could have made a deal. I haven't the foggiest idea. I'm just sharing with you as this envelops. I'm interested. I don't love that they're trying to make up their rules, but if they do, I will follow along and see what those rules are and do my best to come and explain it to you guys. I think that's a big miss. I don't know who's going to bite. It's not, the Ali Act doesn't apply. It's not going to the open market because it is not boxing. So who's going to put it on? Now, there's an answer to that. Chael can sit over here with veins popping out, his face all red in his shirt. There's a buyer for sure. I just don't know who it is. I'm curious. I'm asking the question. I'm not assuring you that it doesn't exist. What network is going to pick it up? There will be multiple networks that put forward to get, like, all of these things are going to get solved, right? The old expression from Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner, if you build it, they will come. It's a very true expression in life. But it's still one of these things that does have me captivated. It does have me interest. And you're trying publicly to take on a guy who's never lost, who many people have tried to play chess with. Many networks, many millionaires and many billionaires, many teams and many stables have taken on that same street kid from Boston, but not one of them has beat him. And it is interesting. What if? There's many games that you could play. If you don't have leverage in a negotiation, you don't have a negotiation. You have whatever that person is going to offer you, or you can go home and sit in the corner. What if, from a standpoint of leverage, Dana says, I'll play ball. As a matter of fact, I'm going to promote it. I saw what you all saw. I saw what a star Tyson Fury is. I saw 94,000 people. I happen to do business in England. I'll book a damn arena myself. I own 7 cages. Why, little in the budget, I can go out there and buy a ring. What if? But then he offers a different athlete to compete. It changes things tremendously. And I don't know what would happen in that scenario, but there's a number of scenarios playing out. And if we're going to defer to a contract, you're not going to like how that game goes. I will just share with you, you will not like how that game goes. It is not going to go the way that you think. I'll give you a quick situation, just a personal story. But I used to be in real estate, and I was representing a client, and they bought a house. We've got to close on May 16th. We did not. Paperwork wasn't in. May 17th rolls around. It's right there. Anybody that knows any level of literacy can see May 16th has come and gone. They can juxtapose that against their calendar, see it's the 17th, and see that we're in default of contract. The realtor for the other side went and sold the house to somebody else. Said, I have the right to. You missed the date. It's right there. 16th has come and gone. Well, young lady, that's not for you to decide. I happen to agree with you. My clients happen to agree with you. We all can see, we all can read, and we all see that you're right. But the only person that can decide this, if we want to contest the contract, is a judge. Nobody else. And now we're going to sue you. But you've sold the house to somebody else, which means if you see it my way to get out of the lawsuit, I'm going to bring you. They're now going to sue you, you fool. So the state was going to take her real estate license. I had to come in and defend her. I had to come in and defend the person that screwed my own clients in a contract because they're going to take her license. I didn't think that was equitable. I didn't think somebody getting it wrong and not understanding how law and process work, that it was equitable, that their livelihood goes away. It all smoothed itself out. I'm only trying to share for you and illustrate the point that you don't know what's in those contracts, no matter how much you think you do. There is no legal yes or no. There is no legal red or green. There is only a legal opinion. There is then a legal argument. There is then a legal decision. You ever check the roster for courts right now? You know how long you could be in that purgatory? And it could go the way that you thought it was going to go. It could go to the interpretation that you and your team had 100% 2 years later. It's an interesting spot. I'm just observing it. I'm just studying. I do not have a horse in the race. I respect the process. With great risk comes great reward. I'm not the naysayer that I think that many of you think I am. I'm just a guy sitting back, being a fan, witnessing something that's never been tested before. And one thing that does make this work, and the only thing that makes it work, is Tyson Fury. You want to play that game? Okay, great. Dylan White also had 93,000 people come see him. Go put Francis with Dylan White. Let me see if those 93,000 people come, right? The only reason it works is because of Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury has not been presented with an option. What if he was? Do you want to go in and box Francis, who is the UFC champion, who has a beautiful record? It's got blemishes on there, but it's pretty damn good. Or do you want to take on Jon Jones, who's an undefeated UFC champion, who has a perfect record? It's an interesting question that's never been proposed. And Tyson isn't going to go with the devil that he knows. He's going to go with whatever you guys say you want to see more. So when you get your teams together and you get your strategies together, come to your opinion, you make your decision, and then you go take on that streetkin from Boston who's never lost at this. Don't tell me I don't have the right to talk about it. And don't tell me that this isn't interesting.